They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is regarded as one of the best superhero movies of all time, something that has not changed even in 2020. While there could be many reasons behind the success of the film, be it the best portrayal of the best supervillain, directed by one of the best modern directors, Imperfect Hero, or maybe the perfect theme. But what remains the most underrated aspect of the film is its plot. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle, in his classic book The Poetics, considered plot as the most important element of drama, even more important than character. Despite being 2 hours 32 minutes long, the film never loses its grip over the narrative, as each event of the film is so well connected that the audience never found themselves bored at any point in the storyline. While some writers complained about not having enough plot in their script, The Dark Knight is in that sense faced the opposite problem for good. But the real question that arises, how did The Dark Knight able to achieve that? The answer to this question lies in the way the film used different plot devices and narrative techniques from false dead to MacGuffin. But the most important and significant one out of them turns out to be Chekhov gun. In this video, I will discuss how The Dark Knight used Chekhov gun as the device for the perfect setup and payoff. Chekhov gun is the principle that states every element in a story must be relevant and necessary. The notion here is that you should not put anything on your story that isn't building towards an outcome of importance. Each part should contribute to the whole in a way that makes sense. In other words, if you draw attention to something, you will eventually need to reveal why it's worth noticing. Mr. Lau is introduced as the supporting antagonist of the first act of The Dark Knight. He is the owner of Lau Security Investments in China and a corrupt businessman who operates as an accountant for Gotham's organized crime. For most part of the movie, he only exists as a kind of MacGuffin, another plot device which states any object, device or event that is necessary to the plot and the motivation of the characters, but insignificant, unimportant or irrelevant in itself. Since so much attention has been given to him, it was very necessary to bring this character back. In this film, they bring the character back to signify Joker's transition from dull gangland figure into a new symbol of Gotham's underworld. It is only after Joker escaped the jail we come to know Mr. Lau's actual use in the story. Another example of the principle comes when Bruce Wayne accidentally fires out the wrist plates from the new Batsuit gauntlets.
Perhaps you should read the instructions first.
The scene attracts the audience's attention by creating a scene that serves not only humor but also delivers information about Batman's new weapon. Batman never uses this ability for the rest of the film until the very end. As it was introduced earlier in the film, now everyone in the audience understands what is about to happen. We get an introduction to Harvey Dent in the first act of the film. He is the newly elected district attorney and considered as the White Knight of the Gotham. It is also when Harvey's coin is introduced and establishes its role as a deciding factor in other people's life. The coin comes back again and again at different moments in the film, raising the stakes and showing what the character has become. The sonar technology used to map out Lau's Hong Kong office is used again to track down the Joker during the climax. The way sonar technology is used as the setup is very clever, as instead of showing up the technology in a discussion, it has been established by showing its application in form of action, making it more exciting and unpredictable when used again in the end. Therefore serves the complete connection to the past event in the film, showing the coherent structure of the plot.
Ever intending to see your wife again, Lieutenant?
I thought you had to go look after your mother, Detective.
Checked you back into the hospital.
I'm sorry.
If we pause the film at this moment, we might wonder what's the point of the scene. But the use of Chekhov gun here is very subtle, almost like foreshadowing. I only took notice of it while watching the film for the second time, as the gun here used is not in the form of a physical item, but conveyed through verbal communication.
You didn't know what they were gonna do? You're the second cop to say that to me. What exactly did you think they were gonna do?
They got me early on, my mother's hospital bills.
Don't!
If you have watched the video till now, you must be wondering how you can use Chekhov principle in your script and design a coherent plot. The basic important rule one must remember is that all the elements of a story must work together to move the story forward in meaningful ways. If they don't, then you must eliminate them. Another important rule of this device lies in placing. If you look at the placing of every Chekhov gun used in The Dark Knight, you may find a similarity in the placing of its setup. Every setup has been done within the first act of the story, which means within the first 30 minutes, thus enhancing the scope of Act 1 and not limiting the act to only introduce the characters and their goals. What are the other examples of Chekhov gun you have noticed in a film? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications.
The tally is 140 against 396 for.